Hey guys, I'm Andrew here. Today I'm going to be doing some work on my 1994 C4 Chevrolet Corvette. For those of you that have been watching the channel or following some of the things I've done on this car, it's not been running properly for close to a year now, and it's just been kind of sitting. I've had some plans to get some things done, but it's been a bit since I actually worked on it. So I replaced the OptiSpark, I replaced the entire fuel system, fuel pump, fuel filter, fuel pressure regulator, thinking that maybe I was going to be able to track down what the issue was. And honestly, some of those things I changed needed done anyway. There were some issues with the fuel pump, fuel filter was probably old, stuff like that. But the car, in some of my old videos, you'll see it once it warms up, it starts like spitting and sputtering pretty bad. I've done tons of research, I replaced the OptiSpark, plugs, wires, all that stuff. And finally found a thread online at some Corvette website where someone talked about the exact same issues they were having, and they replaced their oxygen sensors and it fixed their problems. So we're going to try that. I ordered some oxygen sensors online. They're the OE replacement ones, but these things look like a pain in the butt to do. There's all kinds of different people talking about different ways to get them. We're going to show on the driver's side. You can see I've got it jacked up here. This one's the one that's probably the hardest one to get to because it has to be from the bottom side of the car, and there's a weird shield there and stuff. So we're going to attempt that one first. Wish me luck. Early last year I did the brakes, did the suspension, everything on the vehicle. And then I had new rubber to be put on the car, so I took it into a Goodyear shop, and the car has special wheel lock nuts on it, and there's a tool that comes in the car to replace them. But apparently, when Goodyear replaced the rubber in my car and took the wheels off and put it back on, they never put the tool back. So I was hoping to have a little bit more room to access the oxygen sensor over here by pulling the tire off. Unfortunately, I can't do that, and the chances of the repair shop actually having that tool still are very slim because it was like a year ago. So I've ordered a lug nut lock removing tool off of Amazon. That won't be here until about the end of the week. So I'm going to still try to get in here and do this. I'm not going to wait for that tool. But when that tool shows up, I am going to pull those locking lug nuts off and replace them with regular ones, just so I never have this problem again. And it should go without saying, but whenever you're working on a vehicle, always use jack stands to support the vehicle. Don't rely on a jack. The car can fall off the jack and cause serious injury or death. So just make sure you do this safe. Use jack stands. I just put one in the jacking position there towards the rear, and then the frame under the car behind the driver's side tire there is where I've got that other one in there. And that's about the area I'm going to be working, so it's just going to make it a little bit tighter in there. I will be using at least one of these, but I got two different oxygen sensor wrenches. These you can pick up at your local auto parts store, or you can even order them through like Amazon. But this one's the one that looks like I'm going to have to use probably for the driver's side, because there's no way I can get this long one up in there and get a ratchet on the back of it. So this is what we're going to start with, just in case anyone was wondering which tools I'm using. All right, now I'm here under the car. This here is the oxygen sensor on the driver's side that I'll be pulling out. This plug and this were attached. This is the plug for the oxygen sensor. I've just removed that. And right there is that shield that looks like it's kind of in the way. I could probably remove it. I don't know if there's any bolts on the top side. Those two are just on the bottom of the oil pan there. And they're protecting another sensor plug that's back there. But I think I'm going to try to do it without removing that, and just maybe hopefully be able to get that oxygen sensor there, the tool right on here, loosen it, get it out, and put the new one in there. And then just so you guys can see this really quick, I've got that oxygen sensor tool on the oxygen sensor right now. Again, the wire is just kind of right there. There's that little slit so you can slide the tool around that and onto here. Now I'm just going to get a ratchet in here and try to loosen it off really quick. You know, I think I need to invest in a lift. I'm too old and too fat to be laying under a car doing this. You can see the car's not up very high. Like, I got my jack stands up all the way, but this car does sit low anyway. So this would be a lot easier if I had a lift, but I don't, and a lot of people out there probably don't, so I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way of jacking the car up and doing it, which really kind of sucks. All right, so in order for me to get this, I had to put a little swivel extension there because I didn't have a short stubby extension. If you had a little short stubby extension, you could get that on there really good. But I am doing the socket or the ratchet on the top side with my little swivel extension here onto the socket. And then just really it was pretty tough. I pried it, but now you can see it's loose. So now it's going to be pretty straightforward for me to get it out up here. Just a matter of unthreading it now and getting this thing out. So we'll have this out of here in no time and move on, hopefully, to the other side. All right, guys, so you see in the video, finally got into the driver's side, got the driver's side upstream oxygen sensor off, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. It was not the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's in there pretty tight, and as you saw, I was hoping to get my tire off to give me a bunch more room. If I'd been able to get that off, this would have been a lot easier, or if I had a lift, honestly, this would have been not too difficult. The biggest problem is my car is lowered like 1.5 inches, so it sits on the ground. I had to jack it up as high as I could. It gave me a little bit of wiggle room. You know, I'm not a skinny guy, and I'm 6'4", so getting up in there was a pain in the butt. But here's the oxygen sensor. As you can see, this thing is pretty dirty. We'll be replacing the oxygen sensors with these Denso OE replacements. I don't remember if I ordered these from Amazon, Rock Auto, Napa, somewhere. But these are the OE replacements for the car. They're in much better shape than the one I just pulled out of there, which I'll show you here in a second. All right, so we got the replacement oxygen sensor here, and it's a little bit different design. I mean, the oxygen sensor should still work. 4 plugs. The one wire works a little bit differently on here. On this one, it's got like a bracket attached to the outside. The wire comes off it. This one, all 4 wires run through a plug on the center. That compound needs to go on those threads, because if you ever have to do this again, you don't want this to be stuck in your exhaust, because that would be terrible. That would make it really, really hard to get out, and you don't want to be in that boat. Fortunately, someone from the factory or wherever this came from had used it on this, so it made the original equipment one that I just pulled out easy to come out, all things considered. So we're going to make sure we apply that before we slide this back up into the exhaust. And there you can see the 2 different sensors. Here's the part number for anyone interested in possibly doing this on yours. Again, this is a 1994 Corvette, the non-ZR one. So this might be the same for a lot of others. I'm sure it is for any car with the LT one. It's probably the same part number, but that's the one I'm using for anyone that was wondering. And then, like I said, we're just gonna apply this anti-seize compound to the threads there. All right, guys, driver's side oxygen sensor in, wired up, ready to go. I'd say mechanically it wasn't a difficult process. The thing that makes it difficult is just the dang location of where it is and not having too much room to do things. So one side done, going to do the other side, and the other side seems like it's going to be a pain in the butt too. All right, so driver's side is done and in. Now it's onto the passenger side. It looks like I can probably get to the oxygen sensor from the top of the engine bay. I still have to get under the car to get to the plug though, to unplug it. But I'm just gonna need a lot of extensions to get to it from the top. Should be able to, we'll see what happens. Yeah, it'll be exciting. You can just kind of see it down there on the bottom there. That's the oxygen sensor. I should be able to get to that one to the top, but I'm gonna need to, yeah, right down in there. I'm gonna have to get to the plug from the bottom though, so we'll do that really quick. And guys, just like before, make sure you're using some jack stands under your vehicle to hold it up. You want to be safe about this and not risk injury. This is the plug for the oxygen sensor right there on the bottom. Easy to get to, but as you will see, that oxygen sensor is way up there. It'd be kind of difficult. Actually, you know what? It might not be too hard to get to that from the bottom. We'll see. I don't know. No, the starter's in the way. That's going to be the problem. There's the starter there. So we will have to get it from the top. So I won't be able to get a wrench on there to turn it, most likely. So we'll unplug it, go to the top, and try to get this thing removed. Like I said, I was hoping to get it from the bottom. Unfortunately, you just can't quite get in there. There's not enough room with the exhaust in the way. So what I've done is I have rigged together a bunch of extensions on a swivel on the bottom, attached to my oxygen sensor wrench down there, and hopefully this will make it so I can get it out from the top. All right, so I tried it from the top, but the extensions, they were just gonna break if I put too much pressure on them, so I'm back under the car. I'm gonna try to get to it from the bottom side there. You can see I've got a swivel on there and then an extension, so I can just get it right there. So I'm gonna see if I can get it from the bottom side here. Might be a little bit tougher, but I mean, I should have enough room to hopefully loosen it at least. There it is. Passenger side oxygen sensor. I would recommend doing this from underneath the car. Sure, you can see it from the top, but using a bunch of extensions, they'll probably break. I was able to use this on the bottom side of the extension, and just make sure you're turning it so it's unthreading. Obviously the ratchet will be like backwards since you're underneath it, but it came out without too much difficulty once I got under there and actually did it that way. So now it's time to get my new one, put on the anti-seize for the threads, and get it in there and fire up my car and hope that this fixes it. So something I've done, I've added some wire loom to the new oxygen sensor just for extra protection. You can see the old one just had this little heat shrink on it. This one's got some heat shrink, and now I've got the loom on there as well, just to give us some extra protection. So here I'm gonna put this anti-seize compound on the threads and get it put in. All right guys, so oxygen sensors are done. We're gonna fire up the Corvette, see how she runs, hoping this fixes the problem. Otherwise, it's really gonna probably come down to a bad OptiSpark is the only other thing I could think it could possibly be. Let's find out what happens here. All right, so having to remove a steering wheel in one of these is like a lifesaver for getting out, especially for someone who's tall like me. You know, I said earlier, 6'4", not skinny, so being able to take the steering wheel off makes this so much easier to do things. Let's try to start up the car here. Well, she is not running good. Maybe, yeah, she's kind of missing a little bit. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but definitely a little bit of a misfire. This is kind of a new thing, because before it would only run poorly once it got up to temperature. So maybe sitting for a while now has uncovered some other issues, or maybe it's just getting used to these oxygen sensors. Steering wheel on, we'll back it out of the garage here really quick and let her run and see what happens. They always before, once the car got up to temperature, it would like die. So that's kind of what we always ran into before. So as you can hear, not idling the smoothest, so I don't think the oxygen sensors actually fixed my underlying issue. It doesn't leave a lot of options for what could possibly still be wrong with the car. It is quite possibly just a bad opti. I probably got a bad distributor when I replaced the one that's in here, because it was running a lot better than this before I replaced that. You know, and honestly, it ran good for a couple months before I started having the current issue. That's why I didn't think it was related, but I mean, I've changed everything. I'm starting to think that it's probably just that opti, and I'm going to probably have to swap that out. So probably watch for a video of me changing the distributor in this so she's warmed up a little bit and still not running very well. Seems to be missing pretty bad, a little bit of hesitation, wants to die. You guys might be able to hear it in the video, but the tachometer jumping around quite a bit down there. You can see fluctuating a lot. So again, like I said, it's possibly a bad distributor. So gosh, not looking forward to doing that. That was kind of a pain in the butt to do. Again, not too terribly difficult, but I may as well go there because running out of options is what it could possibly be. All right, like I said, guys, oxygen sensors didn't fix the issue I was having. They were pretty dirty. I mean, honestly, the car's 25, 26 years old now. It's something that's probably going to need changed at some point anyway. And now you got a video where you can see how to do them on your car if you need to do them. But look for another video coming soon of me doing something different on the car, trying to figure out what the underlying issue is, and I'll keep researching on the internet, see if I can find anything there either. Hopefully I can get this problem fixed here sometime this summer, because I would really love to drive my Corvette. Until next time, have a wonderful day.